I'm Dino. It's been a week. I've missed you guys. Yeah, let's get ready to talk about some Night Gallery. This is a good one. We've got 4 stories to talk about and other stuff.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
Oh man, I was looking at the page, the YouTube page, and I didn't see the video go live. I'm like going, what's going on? Did I put the wrong stream link in? But anyways, welcome to the Late Horror Show. I'm Dino as always. Hello to each and every one of you out there. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, check out the links and all that good stuff. You guys know what to do. 4 stories tonight for you guys. Really good stuff. Edward Stewart, hope your birthday present made it there, Dino. I mailed on Monday. Yes, I'm going to go have to check, Edward. I better not forget that. Remind me at the end of the stream so I can go check that out. Good stuff. You know what? Let me say hello to everybody in the chat real quick. First, don't want to miss anybody. Southern Coke drinker Laura, what's going on? WTF Horror and Sci-Fi. Harry Scott, hi boy donuts to you. And everybody. How about that? Tune the News. Francis McCloskey is here. Paul Hamm is here. John Swan. Good to see everybody. WTF Horror and Sci-Fi. Jimmy D popped in earlier. Hi Boy Donuts, like I always say, it's to Dennis, RTN Productions, as always. And I heard everybody mentioning a couple months. It's been a couple months since Connie proper Hilton, who was a big person in the chat for about a year, I think, became part of the channel, everything. And as you guys know, she hasn't been around about 2 months. She passed with cancer, and I'm going to have to dedicate a stream just to Connie Hilton, too. When our family goes, what a sad thing, man, I tell you. Anyways, no bummer. She'd want us to be happy and everything like that, but I'm going to have to dedicate a stream to her upcoming, as I did for Dennis. He's got his own stream. I made sure I put his name in there, so it'll be forever an old time radio 12-hour stream for Dennis. So there you go. But rest in peace, Connie proper Hilton. Man, I tell you. Anyways, the Buzz CJC, what is going on? Sweet Indigo, what is going on? Good to see you. Yeah, me and Dave tomorrow night, we are going to talk about Columbo season 10, episode 12. I thought it was season 9 that he was saying, but it's I got it down as 10. Hopefully I'm right. Ashes to Ashes. So I'm curious to see how a 90s Columbo episode is. I'm sure it's just as good. Overnight Tonight, a good old detective mix. The city looked and smelled cheap. How about that, you guys? Anyways, and next week we're going to remember Seinfeld season 1. I'm going to do The Outer Limits. Season 1, episode 2 of The 100 Days of the Dragon, and then Night Gallery after that again. So that's kind of the rundown there. Let's see. Miss both Denny and Connie. Yep. I tell you, much love to each and every one of them. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the movie review shorts of mostly 80s kind of horror movies. I put a couple good ones up today. So hopefully you guys are checking out those shorts too as well. So let's get to this. Let's get to it. If Ed Stathis is out there, he posted the Frankenstein painting in Discord. I like it. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So I mean, I know you got to touch it up and stuff like that, but it reminds me of Abbott and Costello, Meet Frankenstein. How it's the black outline of Frankenstein in the shadows, black and white. It looks like that. So listen. If you're listening, I'm happy with that, man. That's good. Anyways, okay. Yeah, the city smelled cheap. Must be back in Detroit. Or Chicago or Cleveland or New York. Listen, every big city's got. Yeah, anyways. Okay, so Night Gallery. This is season 2, episode 1. Man, what an episode to get started off on. I really do love this episode. Especially they throw in two little shorts that actually are very, very funny. Very funny. The one with Leslie Nielsen is like 3 minutes long. That's all. And then the other one's like a vampire. Anyways, we'll talk about it when we get to it. Hey, Bubba, what's going on? Good to see you. But this episode aired September 15th, 1971. And I am going, all these talented people on here wish I was. Listen, Laura, we've all got our own talents or just love in general or being kind or whatever you do in life. So it's not all about that. But yeah, you know, there are a lot of talented people on here. Anyways, the first one, well, this aired on September 15, 1971. Again, like I said, definitely good. It's funny, like I said, how they threw two little comic stories in there in the mix because there's 4 of them. And the first one is The Boy Who Predicted Earthquakes. The Boy Who Predicted Earthquakes. And this stars Clint Howard, Ron Howard's little brother. It's so funny seeing him as like a little Opie because he's not Opie, but he's a smaller version. He's a little kid, and Clint Howard, way better actor than Ron Howard, in my opinion. I mean, Ron Howard, he went on to produce Opie. He played that part well on Andy Griffith, but Clint Howard, man, as a child in this episode, hot damn, he was very, very good at acting and playing the part. For such a young boy, he starred in this episode, The Boy Who Predicted Earthquakes. Again, he predicts prophecy. Okay, so that's he's Nostradamus is what he is. But good feel, good acting, lots of good actors in this one. Let's see. I should say some of them if I can. You know what the hell? Bernie Capel is in this. He's from The Love Boat. He plays Reed. He's kind of the station's assistant. Wellman is the station owner who, listen, I have to refer back to my notes. He's Michael Constantine, and you would know him from tons of stuff, some gangster movies, stuff like that. So, and Ray Milland is in an episode a little bit later. Funny stuff. But anyways, getting back to it, Lulu Bell, what's going on? Good to see you, Lulu Bell. Good to see you. So Clint Howard plays Herbie Bittman. Herbie, he's a little kid, Herbie, who, as the show starts, they're in kind of a TV studio. And Mr. Godwin is Herbie's grandpa and manager. So, you know, he's his caretaker. And I guess Herbie has had this gift of prophecy. And it's strange how they do it in this episode because basically he's got his own show. And he's coming in here for the first time to do his show. And Wellman, the station manager or owner, whatever, is trying to talk and figure out, what's this kid doing? Hey, CM, what's going on? Good to see you. What's this kid doing here? What kind of show is? Because I guess Reed kind of puts the shows together, and the station owner or manager didn't know about it. But he's like, what's this kid doing here? What is he going to do? He's going to talk about his homework assignments and stuff. Let's see. WTF Horror Sci-Fi says the boy is so much like the Twilight Zone episode where the kid sends his family and neighbors in the cornfield when he gets upset. WTF? I have to disagree. I don't know how long ago it's been since you've seen The Boy Who Predicted Earthquakes, but totally different. The Twilight Zone episode, he's a mean, angry kid who can put people into the cornfield. He is a monster himself. Whereas Herbie Bittman, this boy played by Clint Howard, the boy who predicted earthquakes, is a kind, gentle child who, as he's doing this show, it's funny how he does it, but yeah, totally opposite. Sorry, bud. But he's doing the show. Okay. So he comes to the station, he sits down. I love how when they go, it's go time. It's basically a show where he sits in a chair and he does commentary. I would love to see this. The kid's talking about his homework, stuff he's doing in school. He's reading a new book, The Count of Monte Cristo. And as he's going through the show, and you see the station owner, Wellman and Reed, they're going back and forth. Reed's going, oh my God. And Wellman's going, what the hell is this? He's going, just let it kind of go on. His grandfather said, what he does. This should make a good show. And he starts talking about Count of Monte Cristo and his homework and stuff like that. And out of the clear blue comes a prophecy. And I love that fact. WTF Horror and Sci-Fi, in the way that uses extrasensory power that ends up terrifying other people, but for different reasons in that way. Okay, I get that, WTF. I get that. And it's not really the Twilight Zone episode. That was, again, he's a monster. And hello, Howard Mann. Good to see you. Talk about the... did somebody listen? Howard Mann, you've got to go. I'm hiding you on the channel. I'm not even sure what the heck that message was all about. That was very ridiculous. Anyways, okay, catch me off guard. If you guys see stuff like that, definitely just check them. William Henson, Herbie, grandfather, rest in peace. He passed away on June 23rd, 1975. He was 64 years old. Yes. That was kind of an extrasensory ability to kind of make somebody vanish and appear in a cornfield. This is just him and his inner thoughts, coming up. And as he's sitting there doing the show, there's prophecy. I know there's a psychiatrist or a doctor who comes in a little bit later and wants to kind of see what he's capable of, maybe help out with extrasensory perception and stuff like that. She says later on, but he's just basically a psychic medium, and these predictions are just coming to him. I do love how she asks how he predicts, and he says the more books he reads, the more he learns. He kind of incorporates what he's learning into his ability. Like if he knows people, if he sees the news, like we're going to find out here about the girl, then it kind of comes out as a prophecy that he predicts. A very clever way that they did it in the writing. Very well done. Ian Sharp, hello. Washed up in the vein, TV host, waspish as the vein. Ian Sharp. What the heck? That's not a good word, Ian, there either. But listen, watch what you say in the chats. Anyways, he's sitting there, and I love when they start and they start the show, and Clint Howard's sitting there like playing with his tie, fiddling and doing all kinds. And I don't know why it stood out. It was a funny scene. It's a funny scene. As a kid, we know Clint Howard. Clint Howard's always looked funny. I mean, he has that look to him. He's not a Ron Howard, but he is funny, that's for sure. So he's sitting there, and as he's talking about his stuff, a prophecy just comes out, and that's when everybody just looks at him like, what the heck is going on? And the camera comes in close on him, and he predicts about the girl who is lost in the Sierra Mountains, and she's been missing for, I think, a week or 2 weeks that they said, which I don't know how she survived without water or food, but you can, 2 weeks in the mountains. And he says They're going to find her with a broken leg. She will be found. And he also comes out and says there's going to be an earthquake tomorrow in the city that's going to hit at 1 p.m. And there are going to be casualties and people dying and buildings coming down, stuff like that. So Wellman, the station owner, just is like, what the heck is he spewing out? What kind of hogwash is this? You know what I mean? So definitely was not. Yeah, I got to keep my eyes off of the chat. I keep looking over there and getting sidetracked. Okay, let me go to the chat real quick. Let me see, make sure. Okay, just making sure, you guys. Just making sure. So we predicted two predictions, and then that's it. Kids off the air, and next thing you see is Wellman in this theater section where I guess he previews movies, or in this case, he's sitting there by himself. He's got his own movie theater, and he's watching Island of Lost Souls on the screen, and Bela Lugosi is coming up there, talking. We are now. It's so awesome that they incorporated the old movie in there. He's sitting in there watching Island of Lost Souls, one of the greatest horror movies of the 30s, I think. Basically the Island of Dr. Moreau. It's the same story, but Island of Lost Souls, and it's got a closeness to me because it's the very first commentary we did on this channel about 8 years ago, somewhere around there. WTF for you can lick, do, and eat grass, flowers, bits for plant for a little while, but it won't last if you're trying to live in the woods. 10 days is a pretty good run for most people. WTF. Oh my God. Good points. Yeah, I bring up the mundane, the trivial. Like, does it really need to be mentioned? No. For the sake of the episode or the show, it doesn't really matter. But he does make the prediction. So he's watching the Island of Lost Souls from 1932, which I think is just unbelievable. And guys, just to sidetrack myself a second, the Lego channel is going to be up and running very soon. I got one more building. It's sitting over there. I should have kept it. It's like 3/4 complete. I feel like getting up and showing you guys real quick. It's taking me forever. It's called Assembly Square. It's got a dentist office in there, and I'm going to be showing the inside of each room, taking off each level and showing everybody. It is just the coolest thing ever. So once that big part of the city is going to go in center, then I can put some of these buildings in there, which is going to be over there with a nice blue background, a sky and stuff like that. So definitely cool. I should go over there and show you I was going to leave it here, but I didn't. I've got some pieces here. See, I've got some Lego steps. I'm almost done. Let me get up and show you guys. Let me get up real quick. I know, shouldn't interrupt the show like this, but let me show you what I'm doing. Really quick, this is Assembly Square. This is the building. I just got the 3rd floor. Yes, believe me, there's a 3rd floor. There's a dentist's office up there, an artist studio, a bakery. See the big baker's wedding cake in the front window there? So freaking cool. There's a coffee shop on the lower level. And on the 3rd level, there's going to be more. So I just wanted to show you that real quick, you guys. Update on the city and the newest building. So there you go. Let me put this back down very, very carefully. There we go. So I was sidetracked and had to show you because I'm loving it. Very, very much therapeutic. Although, has it helped me therapeutically wise? I don't. Anyways, so going on and continuing with the story. Let's see. Paul Hamm. Since Night Gallery was produced by Universal, they made use of footage of several of the Calicores during the show's run. Nice info, Paul Hamm. Thank you. Yeah, to have that movie up on the screen. But I'm like, dude, he's got a radio or a movie station to run. Well, he's probably viewing it to see if it's okay to run on air. Things were different back in the 70s. They had to clear it with their station too. So like boobs weren't popping out, or words or things that were unnecessary were said. That's just how it was. The three most powerful sayings: the boy has a special talent. Tomorrow will be different. Don't be frightened, grandfather. It will happen so quickly. We won't even feed it. Does it have a Starbucks? Listen, it has an even better. It has a mom and pop coffee shop, which is very, very cool. WTF. It's cool, man. Okay. Anyways, continuing on. As he's in the room, his secretary comes in and says, listen, turn on the news. You need to see this. Live footage is being shown of the girl being rescued from the Sierra Mountains. You know, the helicopter coming down. And it's just, he's like, okay. If tomorrow there's an earthquake, because that caught his attention, I'm going to sign this kid for a 25-year contract. And then they come right back to, I think, a year later. And I often wondered, they cut out the part where, did he really sign for 25 years? That would have been a stupid mistake, because 25 years, I mean, if he's getting paid the same amount that contract probably, you know, anyways, you know what I'm talking about. So evidently he signed him. And a year later, I like my coffee with cinnamon stick. Nice. Yeah. The coffee, you can add all kinds of flavors, man. Coffee Shop of Horrors, man. Get the Late Late Horror Show blend. Coffeeshopofhorrors.com. Yeah. No promoting, but yeah, love how he still wasn't convinced. Yeah, no. I mean, that would immediately have convinced me, but you still have a little bit of doubt in there. You know what I mean? But then when the earthquake hit, and then they go to a year later. The kid shows a hit. People want to see it to see what's going on. What is he going to predict next? I mean, can you imagine that? Can you imagine if we had a TV show where there's this like 10-year-old kid who's, you know, just sitting there talking about the oddest things, like his schoolwork and day-to-day things. And yeah, I read a book today that, you know, The Hobbit, it was really, really good. And then all of a sudden he just stares at the camera and he starts to predict things. Just so freaking cool. I would love to see something like that, really, but we got to find it in stories and stuff. Or these things are hidden. Conspiracy theory? Anyways, he's done 106 predictions and they've all come true. Wellman's telling his secretary as they're looking at all the awards and everything like that. So the kid's been predicting everything spot on. So, I mean, there's no denying. And people, I can only imagine what the ratings is. You know, this kid's going to predict something major. You're going to want to know what he has to say. So the next thing is they tell the kid, they're back at the station. He's getting ready to do a show. And Dr. Peterson from the Institute, that's going to kind of ask him questions, interview him, see what he's, you know, what's this all about? I'm not sure if this is hogwash, if this is, I don't know how you can say that, but you know, it is what she's coming in to figure out. Like, how's this kid got his abilities? Dr. Peterson, a woman. Love Coffee Shop of Horrors. Yes, great coffee. He broke the fourth wall, Francis McCloskey. There you go. Hey, JLR, what's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. So she comes in, she starts to talk to him. And this is where she says, it could help with the ESP experiments. And you know what? It was a very cool thing back in the 70s, early 80s. Like when I was in junior high, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I tinkered with it because it was a big thing in movies. I forget the movie where the kid was experimenting. Oh man, I wish I could remember that movie. I think it was Dennis Quaid. Paul Hamm's really good at movies, but Dennis Quaid starred in a movie where ESP was involved and he could get in the dreams. Dreamscape? Is that it? It might be Dreamscape, where he could kind of get into the dreams of other people, and then the government kind of started using him as somebody who could kill spies or whoever, you know. Vicky Array, hello Dino, all you good people in the chat. Good to see you, Vicky Array. Good to see you. Good to see you. Mike Shop, what's going on? What's up, folks? Good to see you, my friend. But yeah, a lot of this stuff went on in the 70s. And so when you hear the word ESP is kind of a term that's, you know, it's kind of old fashioned. You know, it comes from the 70s, the 80s. You would hear about it in the 60s too, maybe even as far back as the 50s. I don't know. But it slowly became, after the 80s, kind of a term that kind of went away, used other terms and psychic abilities and stuff like that. But I even did that stuff. I've talked about it on other shows, so I won't get into it, but she's coming here to see if he could help out with that. And as this is the point where she's asking questions, and he's saying the way this comes about is by me reading. I read articles, I read news, I read books, and when I do that, I learn like people, events, and the prophecies just come out that way. It was a good way, an interesting way of him explaining how it happens to him. I thought it was definitely very, very cool. Altered States was a good one, Ian Sharp. Yes, yes. That's another good one. That was with Altered States was with what's his name? I can't remember his name. Doesn't matter. It was Dreamscape in 1984. Thank you, Paul Ham. Yeah, that's a good movie. Definitely Dreamscape's a movie you should watch. So as she's kind of done for the moment talking to him, and he goes over to like start getting ready, and he starts to like kind of pout a bit, and he's pouting. Listen, when we get to there's a good climax to this story if you don't know it. Wow, this is a good story for sure. But he's sitting there, and he's just like, Grandpa, I just want to go home. He's like, I don't want to do the show. I just want to go home. And he's just very upset. You can see his face. He's just something sad. You know what I mean? So, you know, you're getting in your head, something sad is probably going to happen, something bad, sad, whatever. But he's saying, Grandpa, I don't want to go on. I don't want to go on. And that's when, because he's got a contract, Wellman and Reed, especially Wellman, William Hurt. Thank you, Ian Sharp. William Hurt. That's it. Altered States. That is another very, very good movie. Dreamscape came out before Enemy Mine. Both are good. Yeah, Enemy Mine, a sci-fi, you know, two aliens coming together. You know, it's kind of trying to make peace with each other. Pretty good movie. You know, I think it was a one-time watch for me. But a good movie. Whereas Altered States, I'd give that. It needs a rewatch, but maybe a 7 out of 10. Could possibly be an 8 out of 10 on a rewatch. I don't know. But he's very upset. And Wellman starts to holler. He's like, you got a contract. Just not good, not good. And then he starts to try to convince him that, listen, the people rely on you to comfort them, to make them feel good by what you say. And he's sitting there thinking, and he's like, okay, I kind of understand what you're saying. And again, did a great job of acting, Clint Howard, and decided to go on. And they start doing the show, you know, we're live, you know. Hey, John Swan, Altered States was crazy. Yeah, that's why I like it. It was a really good movie. So the kid sits down again, and they're all watching him, you know, wondering what's going on. Why was he so upset and everything like that? And he just starts talking about everyday stuff, his school, work and stuff like that. I think it was like math or something like that. And then right before the show ends, he comes out and the camera gets real close and really, really, really good. He starts to say, listen, tomorrow, something that's going to change the world is going to happen for the better. Something that's going to bring no starvation. It's going to bring peace. Everybody will love each other. There'll be enough food. It's just everything good. He says, from tomorrow on, something is going to happen to create a great planet. And he was, very convincing, and everybody was, then afterwards, once the show ended, people were a little in a little bit of chaos because they're wondering what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Because they show the city in a fog and a haze and a red glow, and you're thinking, what is going on here? What is this? But they shoot to Herbie and his grandfather at the apartment where they live, and they're like maybe I don't know how high they are, but they're looking out the window and you see everything, and there's a little bit of chaos going on, and Herbie's just got his arms up and he's looking at the sun, which is in a foggy, hazy glow, and his grandfather's just like just sitting there, and then the scientist, the doctor, Dr. Peterson, comes in. And just start Clint Howard play an alien on an episode of Star Trek. Yes. I think you're correct. Yes. So Dr. Peterson comes in and starts to ask what's going on, what's going to happen, because how can you predict? Because Herbie said he can only predict, or his grandfather, 48 hours in advance. Needless to say, it's only 24 hours, like the next day something's going to happen. But she's like, how do you know it's going to make the world a better place after 48 hours? And she starts, he stops and he starts to say, and it's an awesome twist to the story. He basically just put on an act for all humanity. He said, basically, the prediction that he had, the true prediction or prophecy, was he was reading his astronomy book. And in his astronomy book, he learned about the stars, the universe, and he learned about basically the sun. And he says to Dr. Peterson, he says, honestly, I wanted everybody to feel happy on the last day on this earth, because he said in his prophecy, he learned of the sun going nova, basically becoming nova, supernova, and exploding. So the sun is going to explode. So the sun is getting ready to go nova the next day. And he's just sitting there all peaceful, looking out, because the kid has the abilities in the prophecy. He probably knows more than we know, you know what I mean, afterlife wise, if I'm being honest. But he's just sitting there, and he's just like, that's what's going to happen tomorrow. And he wanted everybody to go out with a little bit of peace and happiness, so. And it's funny, he turns back around to his grandfather, and who's like really upset himself, and Herbie grabs his grandfather, hugs him, says, grandfather, it's going to be okay. It's going to be a split second that it happens, and nobody will feel a thing. It's just going to be over with. And I'm just like, man, for this kid to tell his grandfather, it's just, I mean, it was touching, and it was very, very well done. That's all I can say. So that's really the episode, or the first program in the episode, The Boy Who Predicted Earthquakes. Let's see, for the start of season 2 and strong start and airy episode should that night gallery could deliver the goods without having to fall back on flashy pyrotechnics. Oh yeah, Edward Stewart. The story is what made it so great. Paul Hamm, Clint Howard was Baylock in Star Trek. Yes, he was Baylock. Yes. Which Star Trek? Are you talking Deep Space Nine or Baylock? Baylock was Deep Space Nine, right? Am I wrong? Yeah, the little guy. I wonder how old he was. He looked to be around 10, somewhere around there. Hey, William Cromer, what's going on? Which takes us to the next story in this episode. And it's called The Hand of Borgus. No. Miss Lovecraft Sent Me. This is the comedic short, 4 minutes, somewhere around there. It was very, very short. It was called Miss Lovecraft Sent Me. It's basically about a girl named Betty. She comes to the big castle. She's the babysitter. Original series, the Carbon. Oh, dang it. Paul Hamm, but he also played Baylock. So original series, he was in the Carbonite Maneuver. That's right. Original Starlight, but Baylock, wasn't it Deep Space? Am I wrong? Anyways, continuing on. He was in Rock and Roll High School too. You guys, I'm telling you. Okay, I should concentrate on this. So Miss Lovecraft Sent Me. Very short, a bit comical story where the babysitter Betsy, played by Sue Lyon. Sue Lyon plays Betsy in Miss Lovecraft. And she played the original Lolita with Peter Sellers. I mean, listen, Stanley Kubrick film, James Mason played in it, Shelley Winters. Lolita is up there as such a good film. Peter Sellers, probably one of his best acting roles in a movie. I mean, unbelievable. But in this one, she plays kind of a younger woman, a younger girl who's a babysitter. And she's coming to the house to this vampire. He's a vampire. It's like Dracula. Okay, so babysitter comes, vampire opens up the door. He's getting ready to go out for the evening, and she's there to babysit his son. Okay. It's funny because he's got the light blue makeup. You could see it. It looks like it's so fake. It's not even funny. It's hilarious. Hey, Andrea Black, what's going on? Good to see you. Not to mention his funny scenes in Seinfeld. Yes, he was also in Seinfeld, Ian Sharp. Me and Dave will be talking about that next week. All of season 1. Season 2 of Night Gallery is the strongest of the 3. Paul Hamm. It's getting off to a great start. I'm revisiting these. I have never seen all the episodes of Night Gallery, so this one I never seen before. So it definitely is a good one. But it's funny. She comes in real quick. He's like, "Oh, I'm putting the fire and poking the fire," and he's acting like your cliche caped vampire, like it's a comedy, castle set up like that and everything. And he's going out for the town, and she's chewing her bubble gum. Yeah, what's up? And she looks in the mirror and she don't see his reflection. And she's still willing to, because she's still willing to babysit. So she goes over there, and she's going to babysit Sonny, and the vampire starts calling him Sonny, I'm getting your shoes on so you can come down, so you can come down and meet the girl, the babysitter. He's going, you just going to meet her, and he goes as he's putting on his son's, and the son's making like, monstrous sounds. So I don't know if it's a monster, I really don't know. It's very ambiguous the way he's doing it. this vampire, it's not really his son. What is it? What is it? But he goes, come down. You are just going to eat her alive. He says, you are just going to eat her alive. You're going to love it. And she can hear everything he's saying. She didn't run out yet. But then when they start, she hears the last like monstrous moan type thing in the door, and she's out the door. She drops her transistor radio. Have you ever taken your old transistor radio apart when you were a little kid? The little one that's like rectangle and it has the little tiny antenna. I did that. It's funny what was in there. Anyways, she drops it, it shatters, and she books it out. And that's it. 4 minutes of just kind of a funny little episode in between these really good episodes. Stories. Really good. Mike Shop. Sellers was a comic genius. Yes, he was. He was a comic genius. Sellers was a comedy savant. I would agree. This is such a great one. The reveal is great. WTF. Yes, it was very, very good. Okay, so yeah, and then moving on to the next story, The Hand of Borgus Weems. And this one's very, very interesting too. Interesting to talk about. It has Peter Laceland. He's the star. He's the one who starts right off the story driving a car, and you can see immediately that his hand is kind of in control. Kind of reminded me of there was a Peter Lorre movie. I know it's The Beast of Five Fingers, but there was an older one. There's an old time radio show too, where Boris Karloff, I think, cut off the hand and replanted it. Oh no, that was Eyes. I'm thinking back on all these old, but there was one where they cut off the hand, and there was a Peter Lorre one, and it was a German movie, and I forget what it was. I talked about it on this channel, and I don't remember. This one was a trip. Cut off a hand, please. You gave it away, Edward. You gave it away. Ray Milan was always good. Yes, Ray Milan stars in this too. He's Dr. Archibald Rabadon. He's the one that Peter Laceland, who is almost runs this guy over. He's trying to kill people. He's tried to kill 3 people, he tells the doctor. But he comes in to see Dr. Archibald, played by Ray Milan, and mad love, Hands of Orlok. Thank you, Paul Ham. Yes, that is exactly it. Reminded me of that. Mad Love, Ian Sharp right after. Edward Stewart, Hands of Orlok too. So you guys all knew it. Yes. Thank you. I watched this right before I get ready to stream this episode, so my mind's not on top of it. But so The Hand of Borgus Weems. He comes into the doctor's office, says, I want you to chop off my hand. And the doctor looks at it. It looks good to me. They look fine. What do you mean? What are you talking about? I can't do that. It's impossible. And, he starts to tell him why. He says, listen, it's in control. I can't control what it does. And he even writes a note down where it's in Latin. And he says, I don't know what that says. So, and the doctor says it's in Latin. So, all signs point to he can't control his hand, but the doctor don't believe that. He wants him to see a psychiatrist. Original Hands of Orlok is 100 years old this year. Yes. Oh my God. Unbelievable, Paul Ham. I mean, when the doctor asks why, and he says, because, all of that. And the doctor thinks he's crazy, of course, and wants him to see a psychiatrist. His hand wants to murder, he says, which is interesting. And I also thought it was interesting that his hand is the only part of his body that the spirit or whatever is in control of it. Listen, the title is Borgus Weems, so we know Borgus Weems has control of his hand. Who that is, I'll talk about it in a minute. But why just the hand? Interesting at the very end, and I'll talk about that, why it is just the hand, but no other part of it. But he will speak. So does the hand somehow makes him speak? Or is he kind of possessed by Borgus Weems, and really the only thing he can control is his hand, but he can make him speak what he wants to say when he needs him to say it? Very odd, very weird. So when the doctor says no, he looks over at a statue, a bust of a statue, and he walks over there and he takes that statue and he slams it down on his hand. Slams it down. So off to surgery he goes, and he gets the doctor to just cut it off then. So should have thought of that before going to the doctor. Like the doctor was just going to cut off a healthy hand. So he smashed it, went in there. He says he'll talk to a psychiatrist this time, and psychiatrist comes in and the doctor, Ray Milan, and they're listening to his story, and he starts to go on about his story. He's been in the city 2 weeks, working for a job, when he had to go to an apartment building. It just so happened to be the apartment building where, Ash, Evil Dead. That's another one. The hand is possessed by the spirit of Borgus Weems. Yes, exactly, Paul Ham. I get the concept, but why just the hand? Because as you know in the story, Peter actually speaks too, like over the phone and during another scene. So it's like, it's weird. Anyways, so that, yes, the hand is possessed. That's the point. But there's the very ending of the story, they show something, and I'm going, oh, okay, that's interesting. So she comes in and he says, he was distracted. He was going to press the button of another apartment. He ended up pressing the button of a woman called Susan, who lived in an apartment. And she buzzes him up, and he goes up to that apartment. Don't know why he took himself up there, but he did. And it's Susan, and he's going to fall in love with her really quickly, and they're going to get engaged. So they're engaged. He's engaged to Susan. And this is why while he's telling the story of how this all started. And the hand, he's sitting at the phone in another scene where he's got the phone up. The hand starts to dial the phone book. He calls a number, and I think it's Rock something. I forget the guy's name, but he just says, "This is Borgus Weems," over the phone. And it makes that guy come to the apartment a little bit later that Peter is living in. And Peter starts to say, yeah, I moved in here. Everything came furnished. And this guy's saying, oh, yeah, Borgus Weems used to live here. And Peter gets a knife, and he almost kills him. So he didn't murder anybody in the episode, which was good. But because there's a later scene where he confronts Susan after all of this and with a gun, and he's going to take her out. But he doesn't, and he holds down, and she kind of holds down, throws it. But we kind of come to find out that they're all involved. The lawyer, or the guy she was seeing, Susan, Borgus Weems, who I think they were together, and the other guy, I don't even know who it is, the guy with the beard who he almost hit with the car. So they're all three. He's trying to kill Borgus Weems through the hand of Peter, is trying to kill all these people who I guess he feels did him wrong. I don't know. It doesn't really say in the story at all. Some of these Night Gallery stories are good, but certain parts of it are ambiguous and left for you to kind of think for yourself. You know what I mean? Because why did he want to kill all three of them? I don't know. There could have been some kind of cheating going on and all that kind of stuff. Anyways. So what ends up happening is the doctor says, well, you did talk to the psychiatrist, but there's one other person I want you to talk to. I want you to talk to a priest. And it just so happens that this priest comes to the apartment with the doctor. For whatever reason, the doctor thought it was important. See a priest, talk to a priest. And hey, sailor, outlaw, what is going on? Good to see you. Being there needed to be watched 3 or 4 times, really to appreciate it. Billy? Is Billy here? What's going on? Infidelity is no joke. You got that right, sailor. So he brings the priest to the apartment. The priest knew Borgus Weems, and he knew the story behind what went on. And the doctor's going, whoa, what? Because the priest starts to say, yeah, Borgus Weems right here ended up killing himself, or not killing himself, but he was pushed out of the apartment windows, which was really high, and fell to his death. He says the funny part was right before that, the cops found his severed hand on the ground. His severed hand was on the ground, okay, in the apartment. And he was pushed to his death. And Peter's like, how could he be pushed to his death if his hand was cut off, left up here? And who pushed him to, it was an odd situation, So the doctor's like, wow, okay, this is really, really, the opening night gallery, the music was okay. So that's going on. And then after all of that's said and done, you're like going, wow, okay. Left me with questions was Borgus Weems' hand possessed too? Why would he have to cut it off? Was his hand possessed and he was trying to kill the same people? And maybe he committed suicide and jumped off of the balcony after he cut his hand off? Or did the spirit of Borgus Weems make him do that? And then the spirit of Borgus Weems hung around in the apartment? I don't know. But nevertheless, the doctor goes to prescribe a little tranquilizer. I love how they say tranquilizers back in the day. Well, that's what they were, but now you go by the name of the medicine. Peter Sellers gave an interview that was extremely critical. Hollywood in general, many believe that it cost him an Oscar for Doctor Strangelove. Oh yeah, listen, Peter Sellers was a deep thinker. I almost said philosopher, but he was a very deep thinker. And, he got into that right wing, left wing stuff, conspiracy stuff. He really, him and Stanley Kubrick, they anyways, he went off and really, yeah. They tried to throw him off the balcony. He was holding on with the hand that was cut off. Did they say that, Paul Hamm? Did I miss that? But I take your word for it as always, because yeah, I think you got a photographic memory. But I don't remember them saying that, but that sounds legit. That's what happened. So anyways, he gets up the paper and the pen that's on the desk, and he picks up the pen and he goes to write out the prescription. And the camera pans down at what he's writing, and he's writing in Latin. So you're left to believe that the spirit of Borgus Weems is now in the hand of the doctor, Ray Milan. And I'm like going, what? Why the arm? It was pretty inferred that was the case. Okay, so you're going by inferred. But yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, but I think I think mine could be true too, where he was trying to do the killing. He had enough. He cut off his hand and he was just going to end it. But you're probably right. Who sounds better? Let me put a poll up, me or Paul Hamm. Anyways, no, you're probably right there, Paul Hamm. It was inferred. I think you're right. But he lifted the pen up, which the pen was an older ink pen, where you like almost like it's, what I mean? The old ink pens which the lantern would come in to play. So is the spirit that's actually inhabiting these people, Borgus, Weems, Peter, now the doctor, could it be a different spirit from way back when, and he's still writing in Latin? So was it really the spirit of Borgus Weems that was trying to kill those people because it was the apartment? Or did Borgus Weems' spirit go in, somehow the pen was the transference? But I think because it was so old, the old Latin that was written, that it was an older spirit that inhabited and transferred through the pen somehow. Objects can, yeah. So anyways, that's my thought on that episode. Listen, a good episode. Didn't explain everything, which they did say that Borgus Weems was into the occult and all of that kind of stuff. So he could have conjured up the spirit of something that inhabited the hand. I don't know. The spirit that inhabited the hand. Sellers seem to be a tortured soul, Ian Sharp. Yes. Agreed. And a lot of comic geniuses are. Rest in peace, Robin Williams. So there you go. That's it. Said Borgus Weems was using his hand as revenge. I mean, I don't know. So there you go. Last but not least, last but not least, listen, this has been a tough week for me, you guys. Anyways, me and Dave tomorrow, going to be a fun show. Phantom of the Opera. What a take Night Gallery had on Phantom of the Opera. 4 minutes, if that. Leslie Nielsen playing the Phantom. Kind of a cool mask. It just was like kind of a flap kind of thing. Looked good. Coming down the stairwell, holding the girl in his arms. And lays her on the bed. Very short. You could tell it's the voice of Leslie Nielsen and all that. And he makes one big statement. He walks himself over to the organ, and he tells her, he says, I can forgive everything, but I can't forgive exposing his face. He's basically telling her, no. Yeah, Leslie Nielsen as the Phantom was, listen, I see Leslie Nielsen most of the time as Police Academy, all that, Airplane, and not Airplane, Phantom, you know what I'm saying? The funny stuff. So then he starts playing at the organ, and she starts to sneak up. She's an opera singer up there, and he says, maybe you can sing me a song. And she comes up behind him and tears off his mask, and he swings around, and it's a pretty good makeup job for Night Gallery as the Phantom. Gray face, a little bit of the Phantom look to it. And he goes up to her and starts to grab her face, and he tears off her mask. And she turns around, and she's just like him. She's a phantom. Same look, everything, teeth. Oh my God. And they look at each other. But what's funny is Leslie Nielsen, he's a phantom. His face is awful. He jumps back and he goes, screams in horror at her face, but then sits back up, and they kind of hug and embrace. Wow, we found love. Two ugly faces in the night. We found love. Did he have a pig nose? I can't remember. No. Well, no, but there was a good makeup job that they did for it. Nielsen was good in Creepshow. Yes. a good acting job in that. It didn't seem very comical in Creepshow. He did a very good job in that. So that's it. I mean, hugs and they're happily ever after. I don't know. She is more hideous than he is. Yes, Paul Ham. She is more hideous than he is. That's the funny part of it. So yeah, that's it. That's this episode. We get 4 and 2 short comical kind of bits. I think the boy who predicted earthquakes was phenomenal. I think it's the best of them. Even though the short ones I got a kick out of. Borgus Weems, mediocre story, but overall, what a good start to season 2. Really, really good start. Thank you, CM. Thank you, Dino and Mods. Thank you for being here. And let me just say real quick, yes, detective compilation tonight. The city looked and smelled cheap. Good old mix. The Outer Limits next week for me. The 100 Days of the Dragon, season 1, episode 2. Sorry. Me and Dave Plouffe tomorrow doing a Columbo episode. Ashes to Ashes from the 90s, season 10, episode 12. Then the following week, we'll be doing Remembering Seinfeld, season 1. And then I will do Night Gallery the following week. And then me and Dave do Kolchak, the next one. Horror in the Heights, the big one. Be sure to go over there early. Give them likes, comments. Make sure you guys give thumbs up here. Let me see where we are with the tally. 60 thumbs up. Hopefully we get more before the end of this. But yeah, that's about it. Going to end it. Peace and love as always, you guys. Love talking about this with you guys. And yeah, I'm going to put together more of my Lego and start the overnight stream and work on stuff as usual. So as always, peace. Much love, Connie, Proper, Hilton. Rest in peace. Hi, Boy Donuts, Dennis.